I'm delighted to be joined here today by Elaine Haskell, National Account Manager from Apetito, as well as Sophia Cornelius, Dietitian from Apetito. And today we will be discussing sustainable and nutritional patient dining solutions provided by Apetito. There are often misconceptions around frozen food. How does Apetito ensure that its frozen meals maintain a high level of nutrition and flavour?
I guess the first thing to address is the misconception around frozen food. So, when we freeze something, that is nature's way of preserving food. It's nature's way of stopping that bacterial growth, the same way that you would do if you were tinning something or salting something. But what it means is we don't have to do that. We don't have to add the additives to preserve it. And the other thing to remember is that when we're freezing something, actually, it can lock in the nutrition. So we do something called fast freezing. And what that means is that all the meals are frozen within the hour, and the fast blasting actually uses kind of smaller ice particles, so it helps maintain the quality of the food and prevents any disruption. The other thing to know is with regards to fruits and vegetables, because this is often where people are concerned with regards to freezing, is actually when a fruit or vegetable is frozen, it's frozen at its ripest, which means it's at its best nutrition then. So what that means is you're locking in that nutrition. Whereas if you're buying fresh, what can happen is it's picked before it's ripe, it's then transported to the supermarket. You have that opportunity to spoilage. So that kind of saying of fresh is best isn't necessarily true.
Are there any additional benefit of freezing meals, such as planning ahead, storing food more efficiently, or reducing waste?
Having a frozen option gives you so much more flexibility. The food that we make is frozen on the day we make it, and it has a very long shelf life. So you can store that food. What you don't use on the day, you can save in your freezer and use it when you next need it. It gives you contingency meals so that patients who come in that need something on a special diet level perhaps, we've always got something in the freezer that you can use to feed that patient. Also, because it's frozen, it's much more stable, so it's easier to handle. If you've got the new food out of your freezer and it's sitting on the side for 10 minutes, it's still going to stay frozen. You don't have to worry too much about variance in temperature, so there's less spoilage and less wastage. We also do different pack sizes, so you only use the food that you need. And because we make all the food to stock, you can put any meal on your menu any day of the week. So you've got total flexibility with your menu planning.
How do you identify the need for a new dish and take it all the way through to a hospital plate?
So one of the first things we do is we make sure we have really good communication with our customers so that we can identify any gaps that maybe they've noted that we can't cater to their patients, be that kind of dietary preferences or nutritional need or even kind of food trends. So that's kind of the first stage. Then once we've identified those gaps, that's where our chefs come in, and they very much work on recipe development, looking at how they can obviously best cater to, be it a nutritional concern, preferences, whatever it is that we've identified that we need. Obviously, one of the things that needs to be considered with that is making sure that we can actually provide that meal to our customers. So even if we want to develop a certain recipe, if we can't source those ingredients in the quantity or the quality, then it's not worth creating the meal to start with. And then on top of that, obviously nutrition is a really key consideration. So that'll be a focus, making sure that they're either hitting certain dietary codings, meeting certain allergens, and really thinking about the key nutritional concerns, be it kind of malnutrition, that they need to be catering for.
What innovation has Apetito introduced to enhance patient experience whilst supporting sustainability within hospitals?
We've introduced a plated meal system which we call carte choix, and this is unique in as much as it cooks on the ceramic plate, so the patient's not eating their meal out of plastic dishes. We've also, to back that up, brought in a closed loop recycling system which we call Boomerang. So all the PET trays that we use for our carte choix meals, for our special diets, can all be recycled. They're already recycled, but we pick them up from your hospitals and we take them back to the manufacturer of those trays, and they turn them into flakes and turn them into new trays, which we then fill with new meals. We've also carbon footprinted all of our meals, so that means that we can give you the option at Sodexo to vary your meals, to include more plant-based meals, to actually measure accurately the carbon that you're using within your catering system. And it also gives patients the choice of being able to make a sustainable choice while they're in the hospital as well.
What does your specialized nutrition offer look like to support hospital when catering for patients that have unique dietary needs, such as dysphagia, malnutrition, or small appetites?
So we have a few different meal types in our specialist nutrition range. One of the ones we're extremely proud of is our texture modified meals for people living with dysphagia. So this range offers meals level 3, 4, 5 and 6. And within the level 4, 5 and 6 we offer both mains and desserts. And within the level 4 we also offer kind of snack options, so think like a cheese toasty or a beans on toast, and also some breakfast options like scrambled egg or an all-day breakfast. So these are really good options for anyone living with dysphagia. Nutrition was obviously a key element of that as well. So individuals on a level 4 puree diet, that's often a very severe stage of dysphagia. And what we know is they're at higher risk of malnutrition. So we've really focused on making sure they are nutrient dense, so they contain at least 500 calories and 15 grams of protein. We then also have a range called a mini meals extra. So this range is developed for people with smaller appetites who again are maybe nutritionally vulnerable. So it's that smaller portion size, but again it's a minimum of 500 calories and 20 grams of protein. So it really is supporting to meet those higher nutritional requirements.
So it is also inviting as well as nutrition and catering for everyone's taste and needs.
Yeah, so again, with all of these meals, presentation is a really key focus, particularly with your specialist nutrition, your texture modified diets. That's really key because once you reach particularly that puree level, it can be really hard to identify food. So it's really key that we focused on presentation, and that's why we actually use molds. And what we know is that molds can actually support people to eat better. Another range we also have is our free from range. So this is a range that is made, it's a normal texture, but it's made without the 14 main allergens. So particularly in hospitals, either if they've got someone newly admitted and they're not sure if someone has an allergen, or if they do have severe allergies, what it means is they're all sealed as one meal and the film doesn't need piercing, so it reduces that risk of cross-contamination when cooking, and they can be sure that they can provide someone with a safe, nutritious meal.
And how does Apetito ensure food safety and quality control at large-scale operation while offering a solution that minimizes equipment, preparation time, and staff training requirements?
It all starts with what we do in our production kitchens. Everyone in our producing our meals is responsible for each individual task that they carry out. They understand that the quality of the food, it's important because it's making a real difference, not just to people they don't know, but it could be their own family that's in that hospital or the care home. And so they take more care over what they're doing. We have standardized procedures and standard recipes, which makes everything consistent. So all the meals regen properly, all the same every time you use them, and they always taste the same, and they always have the same nutrition all the time you use them. Because we take all of that stress away, that means that your Sodexo staff can concentrate on what we call the last 9 yards, which is making sure that the food is at its best at the point of service. And to support that, we have a team of training and operations managers within our healthcare team who will support your staff on your sites to make sure that we've audited everything from the door to the bedside, that we've put together training collateral and training programs that meet your needs on the site, whether that's picking and packing, whether that's the regen, or whether that's how we present the food on the plate to make it look its very best, because we all eat with our eyes when all's said and done. And if it doesn't look nice, then the patient's not going to eat it. So we try to give you all the support you need to be able to make sure that you're giving the very best meal to that patient.
So, Sophia, Elaine, thank you so much for joining us today and helping us demystify perhaps some misconception and preconception of what frozen food is like.
Thank you for having us.